I would say the most rewarding thing is when people come back and just say that I've blown their mind. Like it's the best spaghetti they've ever had. A lot of people are like, oh, it's just spaghetti. But I get so many people coming back or, doing a review after the fact. And that's what makes it worth it in the moment.
Welcome back to the Take on PG podcast. I'm your host, Colin Carson, CEO of Tourism Prince George. Today we're talking food. Big flavors, local ingredients, and life on four wheels. I'm joined by Kate Hawley, the creative force behind Baller Food Truck, one of the most recognizable and delicious parts of Prince George's growing food truck scene. We're digging into what it takes to prepare for a busy event, what goes on behind the scenes in a mobile kitchen, and where you can find Kate slinging next level bites all over the city. It's part hustle, part passion, and 100% flavor. Let's get rolling. So thanks, Kate, so much for joining us on the podcast. Let's kick it off a little bit by telling us about yourself. Who are you?
That's a good question. I'm a lot of things. I wear a lot of different hats. First and foremost, I am a mom to 5 boys under 10.
Sounds pretty normal. That's not chaotic at all, is it?
Oh, just a tiny bit. Yeah, when they get off the bus at 2:30, it's go time. Feed them, and then get them going on. We do chores, music lesson, reading app. It's a whole schedule of things. Otherwise, one of the spinning plates falls off. But yeah, so mom first and foremost. I'm also a farmer. We have a hobby farm at our house with pigs and chickens and goats and turkey and all sorts of things for our own consumption. We are hoping to start a farm stand this year, though, on the property. And then I'm a food truck owner and a chef as well.
Perfect. So based on the rest of your life, it sounds like the food truck is probably the easiest and most less chaotic piece of your life, I would imagine, right?
Oh, yeah. Going to work's a vacation from my home.
Perfect. So let's talk a little about Baller Food Truck and
Sure.
how that came to life. I guess, first of all, very interesting name. What inspired Baller Food Truck and the concept behind it?
So the whole idea actually came to me in a dream. It was kind of just like a midnight eureka moment. I don't know about everybody else, but I always keep a notepad by the bed for, get those ideas out of my head so I can go back to sleep. The name is kind of threefold. First of all, I always wished that I was a baller. Wish I was a little bit taller. And then it also took some serious balls to start a business and go out on my own, and then eventually be able to quit my day job. And the third is that my food is shaped like balls.
There you go.
So threefold.
Threefold.
Baller food.
Perfect. So for those people who haven't tried your food yet, first of all, they're missing out. What is the vibe of your food and what are some of those go-to dishes?
So the vibe of my food, I like to keep it fun. There's a lot of comedy in everything that I do, my marketing and stuff like that, and my customer service as well, if you ever visited me on the truck. My flagship item, I guess, menu item was my meatballs. And then I started doing more and more things. So I've got a selection of different arancini. So I do a rice version, a spaghetti version, a mac and cheese version. I also do several different gnocchi dishes and stuff like that, and a few salads that are also shaped like balls.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic. And you're making me hungry already. This is going to be a long episode, I think. So let's talk a little bit about the food truck scene in Prince George. What's it like being part of that community here in Prince George? I know it's growing, I would say. It seems like there's more people popping up, but it also seems it's a little bit like the brewery scene here in Prince George, where although, you are in direct competition with these people, it is a community and it feels like you really do work together as well.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the summer months and food truck season, kind of May to October, I work so many events with, the same vendors. We do a lot of food trading. There's a great level of camaraderie and helping each other out. Also, if, say, I have somebody contact me for an event that I'm already booked for, I usually will help those clients find another food truck just because I have all the contacts and stuff like that already. It's a great little community out there. I have in the past 4 seasons seen quite a few food trucks start up and then go as well. So it's interesting to see which ones, reopen each year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, it kind of goes into the next question here I had for you, but how has that kind of food truck culture grown or changed over the last number of years?
Yeah, I think that it's definitely a tough industry. It's got a lower profit margin than some people might think. There are a lot of, hidden costs. Yeah, I've worked for even a couple of the food trucks that used to be around. Smoky J's Smoked Meats was where I first started and kind of like learned the ropes. And then I moved into Birch and Boar and found some mentors there that really kicked me in the butt and got me on my way and into my food truck. Yeah, it's a tough business out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the kind of great things about Prince George is the number of events that we have here, whether that's these small community events or, these big festivals that draw people in from all over. It seems like there's constantly, and especially in the summer, big events happening every weekend. And I think what I've seen over the last number of years is the increase in food trucks attending those types of events. And I know that's somewhere where you like to spend time and hopefully have some successful weekends for yourself. But what are some of those favorite local events and festivals that you have here in Prince George where you think that food truck scene really shines?
Some of my favorite local events, Love Local puts on a great night market. They do several throughout the summer months. Also, the downtown Prince George Summer, Fall, and Winter Fests are always amazing community events. So many vendors, lots of cool food to try, and very family friendly. Also, I work a lot with Hunnifer Gardens. They do some wicked events throughout the year as well. And this summer especially, I've actually booked quite a few music festivals.
Awesome.
So we've got Robson Valley Music Festival happening in Dunster. Arts Wells is back this year out of Wells. And we'll be traveling a little bit further than previous years out to Valhalla Fest in Terrace. And then for Canada Day this year, I'm going to be representing the Italian Club.
Oh, cool.
In the park.
That's awesome. That's a very good one. Yeah, I mean, Canada Day in the park here in Prince George is one of my favorite events. And I think that you mentioned representing the Italian Club do a really good job of highlighting a variety of different ethnic food options here in Prince George, and a variety of different types of cuisines, all kind of made locally by local folks here. So that's a really fun event that I always like going to.
Yeah, try a little bit from all over the world. It's a great spot to do it.
Absolutely. So do you find these people in Prince George, are they adventurous eaters, or are they sticking to the meatballs when they're coming to get the dishes from Baller Foods?
In general, I would say that I do think that people of Prince George love the classics, but there's a lot of foodies here too. We have quite a few Facebook groups, supporting local restaurants and people that are really into foraging and growing their own food in the area. So I do think that there's a lot of foodies here that want to try new menu items. And generally, I would say on my food truck, they always come for the arancini, and it's always sold out.
Always sold out.
Because of that. But I do plan on having it as a regular menu item this year. So look forward to that.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's something that, we've seen a lot, especially from visitors when they're coming to Prince George. They want that authentic experience. They want that, that dish, that meal that they can't really get anywhere else. And especially you mentioned the foraging and the locally grown items. People want to experience that food that's grown locally as well. So I think that's really cool to hear you talk about that, and especially with your hobby farm, and don't know if you can use your ingredients and things like that in your
there's
dishes.
A whole lot more permitting that I would have to do to be able to use what I grow on the farm. But so right now it's just for our own consumption, but maybe one day.
Maybe one day. And but still that side of things is really interesting, and I think when we're talking to visitors a lot, that's what they want. They want that local experience. So really cool to hear. Okay, let's talk a little bit more kind of behind the scenes of Baller here. Walk us through what it takes to prepare for a busy day or a big event. Ingredients, staffing, logistics. What's it like running a food truck on an event day?
For big events, I would say like Canada Day and, music festivals that last all weekend, it could take up to, a week to get all of the food prep done. I do most of everything myself. Most of my menu items are handmade. So I do everything from, creating the menus and the recipes to shopping, fueling everything up, cleaning the food truck, accounting, all of the marketing, website, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's a lot of work. A lot of prep time for sure. But we always make it happen. We haven't ever had to, cancel too many events or anything like that. So. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you mentioned a lot of work. Obviously, you still love doing this, though. So what are some of those rewarding kind of moments of running a food truck, or what is so rewarding about it that you really like?
I would say the most rewarding thing is when people come back and just say that I've blown their mind. Like it's the best spaghetti they've ever had. A lot of people are like, oh, it's just spaghetti. But I get so many people coming back or, doing a review after the fact. And that's what like makes it worth it in the moment. I would also say just personally, when I have to problem solve something and I get it, or I'm able to fix the problem, I'm just like, waving my fist in the back of the food truck in the kitchen, like, yes, I did it myself. So those overcoming challenges, I guess, would be the highlight for me personally as well.
Awesome. Anything specific that stands out as those challenges that you have to overcome in the setting of running a food truck?
Yeah, I would say the biggest hurdles are generally if you're relying on someone else's power source. So I have a generator as a backup as well, but lots of events don't allow generators and whatnot. And then the power supply can be an issue. So figuring out little workarounds for that has usually been my biggest challenge in the past. But I've also, had the generator not work. Yeah. So just all sorts of stuff like that, troubleshooting. Yeah.
Sometimes need a plan A, B, and C.
Yeah, it's usually something mechanical though that I've got to figure out what's wrong. But,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Any surprising stories or kind of wild moments from being on the road or at events that you are allowed to share here that are maybe PG-13-ish?
I would say, like the most fun events that I've done are music festivals. So last year we did, One Love in Quesnel, Robson Valley and stuff like that. And yeah, those are serving some wild and crazy customers for sure. But also on the way back from Robson Valley last year, I blew a tire on the trailer. Okay. And I was by myself and it was really bad. Like it was down to the rim. There was no way to take the tire off with the amount of weight and clearance from the road. Luckily, I was within service, so I was able to call a tow. But yeah, that was probably the scariest thing that's happened. Just being alone on the side of the road at night, Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's obviously traveling around to these events. There's got to be tons of wild customers and things like that happening. So when you're not traveling around too much or going to these different events, where can people typically find you during kind of that typical food truck season during the summer months?
Yeah, so this year I'm going to do a little bit more of a regular schedule. So I'll be running Wednesdays to Saturdays regularly. Wednesdays are going to be up at the Westgate Co-op, just west of town. Thursdays, I'm going to be doing Vanderhoof markets during the day and mix at 6 in the evenings in Quesnel. And then Fridays, I'm going to be doing Foodie Fridays with the city in July and August. And then the rest of the time, I'll be doing BCR Fridays out in the BCR site. Just you take that first turn.
Yeah.
And then I'm also working with a bunch of other wedding vendors this year. And we are doing a shotgun wedding weekend, May 31st, June 1st.
Cool.
So we still have a few spots left where it's kind of like a whole package wedding. And all you have to do is show up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that. That is super interesting. And I think, so literally you're signing up and you're kind of getting that bulk discount because it's a group wedding in a sense.
Yeah. Well, we would have several bookings throughout the day.
Yeah.
So a morning, a midday, and then an evening. So we're calling ourselves the I Do Crew. It's got wedding planning and decor by The Hunt Is Over Weddings, florals by Wildflower Farms, photography with Yellow Ribbon, the cake done by Sweet Sensations, and then PG Portable Toilets is providing toilets and a 360 photo booth. And then also included are your commissioners and live musician, and then I will be doing food and beverage.
Cool.
With the food truck. So
that is quite the quite the way to tie the knot and do something unique. And
yeah, weddings on a budget.
Weddings on a budget. Awesome. That's good. Awesome. So where can people stay updated on your locations, new menus, things like that? Do you Instagram, website? Where can people find that information about you?
Yeah, I do Instagram, Facebook, and a little bit of TikTok. It's at ballerfoodcanada. And I'll be posting, a month out with reminders weekly.
Awesome. We talked about this a little bit, but I want to kind of dive back into it a little bit. You feature a lot of local ingredients, creative dishes. Can you talk about that importance of keeping it local? Like I mentioned, I think from the visitor aspect, like people are really interested in experiencing that local flavor, but kind of on the other side of that, like from the business end, why do you think it's so important keeping things local like that?
Well, when you spend your hard-earned money at a local business, whether that's sourcing food product like how I do, so I source my meat from Centennial Meats, and then I work with I get my mushrooms from PG Urban Shroomery. So there's several local farmers and businesses that I source from. Those dollars are staying local, right? They're going to support small businesses, which then go to support small or large families in my case. But that money is going directly to support a family and not a giant corporation and a CEO with a fat bank account. So
absolutely. No, that makes a lot of sense, and think that's really something that we strive for at Tourism Prince George is finding ways to support those local businesses as well. And I think as you mentioned, keeping that in the local economy here really important. So definitely you're hitting the nail on the head there with me as well. Okay, let's talk about, I think if people are listening to this, and there's probably a part of everyone's dream where they want to be an entrepreneur, they want to run their own business, they want to do this, and I think food trucks became this kind of sexy career path that people thought that they could do. You mentioned it's maybe not as glamorous as people think, but someone's listening to this podcast like, I want to start a food truck. What advice do you have for them?
I would just say, just do it.
Okay.
Jump in, invest in yourself 100%. If you have a small savings, or if you take out a small loan to start. I started out in a tent, right? So a lot of businesses that I see that sometimes don't make it, they're expanding too quick or investing too much right off the hop or taking out too big of a loan. So you can start small and you can grow. But if you go too big too soon, I think sometimes that can be your downfall. So I would just start with local markets, make some small partnerships, find somebody that's already doing what you want to do, talk to them about it. Also getting connected with community partners and supports like the Chamber, WeBC if you're a female, PG Chamber of Commerce, Futurepreneur, stuff like that. And starting with a solid business plan. Those agencies can help you do that. And then last but not least, right off the hop, if you're not good with paper like I am, get a bookkeeper or an accountant. I've spent the last couple of months catching up on everything and just, sorting boxes of crumpled up pieces of paper. So don't do what I did. And get the help that you need right off the bat. Source that out. If you're not good in, say, the marketing or the web stuff, if you have no experience whatsoever, hire that out. It'll make your life so much easier.
Yeah, that's awesome. So short follow-up to that, you've obviously got the ball-shaped food market cornered. What shape of food should someone start a food truck for here in Prince George if you're making recommendations?
For another shape of food?
Yeah.
I would go with squares.
Okay,
I don't know why I picked round. It's way more work to make everything in a ball shape, so do squares.
Okay.
Sheet pan. Knife,
there you go.
Sliced. It's done.
Make it easy. Okay, cool. So coming next is square-shaped food truck. Thanks, Kate. What's next for Baller Food? Any future plans, menu items, collaborations? Anything you can tease with us right now?
Yeah, I've got a few early bird events coming up this month, and then I'll be opening full-time come May.
Awesome. That sounds great. Any menu items that you can tease? What's next on the creative side of things for you? Anything you're cooking up in the kitchen?
Well, I've just started experimenting in the off season with different flavors of meatballs. So I started out originally with just the Italian, and then I tried Swedish the next year. So I've been doing a little homemade honey garlic version and a maple barbecue. So just a few other ways that people can try on the bowl of balls. And then, like I said, I'll have the arancini, the spaghetti mac, and the rice version as a regular menu item this year as well.
Awesome. Well, that sounds great. One more time, where can people find your information, Instagram, website?
Yep, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at ballerfoodcanada. Best way to get a hold of me, though, is email. So it's ballerfoodtruckcanada@gmail.com.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Kate, for joining us and talking about food trucks here in Prince George. Let's go get some food. I'm starving.
Awesome. Let's go.
Huge thanks to Kate Hawley of Baller Food Truck for joining us today and sharing us what it's like to run the community's top voted food truck. From bold flavors to big events, Kate is helping shape Prince George's street food scene one ball at a time. Follow Baller Food Truck on social to track down where it'll be popping up next, and trust us, you don't want to miss it. @Baller Foods Canada. Thanks for tuning in to the Take on PG podcast. Until next time, stay hungry and keep exploring.